What's your name? Tell me in the comments. I need to know who's listening to this story right now, because what I'm about to tell you will change how you see family forever. My name is Sarah, and I'm 27 years old. But for the first 25 years, I didn't actually know who I was. Not really. Because the people who were supposed to teach me, they were too busy building a lie. I grew up watching my mother, Rebecca, turn her smile on and off like a light switch. In front of other people, she was perfect. Kind words, warm hugs, the woman everyone wanted to know. But when the door closed, that smile disappeared. And what was left was someone who kept score. She remembered every time she said no to me. Every time I asked for help. Every time I needed something. My father, Michael, was there too. But there is the wrong word. He was present but not real, like watching someone through glass. He nodded at everything Rebecca said. He questioned nothing. He just existed in our house like furniture that occasionally sighed. Then there was my sister, Jessica. Jessica got everything. Private school with shiny brochures, a new car for her 16th birthday, money for college that just appeared, weekend trips, designer clothes, parents who looked at her like she was made of gold. And me. I got told I was lucky to have a roof. That's the word Rebecca used. Lucky. When I needed textbooks in college, she said money was tight. When my laptop broke, she said I should be more careful. When I desperately wanted to go to summer camp when I was 12, she said I needed to build character. Jessica went to summer camp for 6 WKS. I told myself it didn't matter. I told myself independence was a gift, not a punishment. I worked 2 jobs by 19 years old. I paid my own tuition. I bought my own groceries. I convinced myself this made me stronger. But strength built on rejection still feels like pain. The person who ever made me feel safe was my grandfather, Thomas. He wasn't like them. He had this way of looking at you like you mattered, like you were worth something just because you existed. When I was small, he'd take me to the boardwalk. He'd hold my hand and tell me that one day everything would make sense, that one day I'd understand my own value. I never knew what he meant back then. 27 felt far away when I was 8 years old. By 26, life had become predictable in a broken way. Jessica was engaged to a lawyer. Rebecca threw her an enormous party. Michael smiled and nodded. I brought a casserole and pretended to be happy. No one asked about my life. No one asked about anything. Then my 27th birthday arrived. Thomas had invited everyone to dinner at his favorite restaurant, the one with the white tablecloths and the quiet that makes you hear everything. Jessica wore something that cost more than my monthly rent. Rebecca had her hair done. Michael wore a tie. I wore the dress I bought 3 years ago. We sat down. The waiter brought water. And then Thomas did something I never expected. He pulled out a stack of papers. They were thick, official, serious. His lawyer, a woman named Catherine, sat beside him with an expression that meant business. "Sarah," Thomas said carefully, "I need you to tell me something, and I need you to tell me the truth." My stomach dropped. "I set up a trust fund for you when you were born, $3 million. Your parents were supposed to give it to you when you turned 18. Tell me, tell everyone at this table, what did you do with it?" The water glass froze at Rebecca's lips. Michael's fork hit his plate. Jessica's eyes went wide. And I felt the air leave the room. "I never got one," I said. My voice was smaller than I wanted, smaller than I needed it to be. Thomas didn't speak. He just nodded at Catherine, and Catherine opened that folder like she was opening a verdict. The sound was loud, almost violent. What came out was everything. Mortgage payments, kitchen renovations, vacation homes in Colorado, Jessica's wedding venue deposit, Jessica's apartment down payment, Jessica's car, Jessica's engagement ring, year after year after year. All signed by Rebecca and Michael. All withdrawn from MY Trust. All money that was mine. Rebecca stood up so fast her chair fell backward. The sound made people look. Everyone in the restaurant looked. "This is inappropriate," she hissed. "This is family business." "This is theft," Thomas said quietly, but everyone heard him. And I have every document to prove it. I can't describe what happened inside my chest in that moment. It wasn't anger. It wasn't even shock. It was like someone turned on a light in a room I'd been lost in for 27 years. Michael kept saying we were taking care of the family. Rebecca kept saying she was always taken care of. Jessica kept saying, I didn't know, I swear I didn't know. But the numbers didn't care about their words. The numbers told the truth. I left that restaurant alone. I walked and didn't stop. The night was cold. The streets were quiet. And for the first time in my entire life, I didn't feel guilty for being angry. I called Thomas the next morning. I want everything, I said. Every dollar, every record, every signature. I want to know exactly what they stole from me. Then let's take it back, he said. Catherine spent 3 weeks gathering documents, bank statements, transaction records, signed authorizations, emails where Rebecca discussed borrowing from my account with Michael, pictures of the renovation, MY Money making their kitchen beautiful. 3 weeks of evidence that proved the lie they'd been living. When we walked into that lawyer's office, Rebecca looked afraid for the first time. Catherine laid out everything, not dramatically, not with anger, just clinical facts that somehow felt more devastating because of that. These transactions total $2.8 million, Catherine said. Plus accrued interest, the amount owed is $3.2 million. Michael's face went gray. That's not including the opportunity cost, Catherine continued. What your daughter's trust should have earned over 25 years of proper investment, which would bring the total to approximately $4.1 million. Rebecca tried to interrupt. She always interrupted, but Thomas held up his hand. You're going to listen now, he said, like Sarah should have been listened to her entire life. Catherine placed 3 folders on the table. First, she said, we're filing a case for financial exploitation of a vulnerable dependent. Rebecca's mouth opened, but nothing came out. Second, Catherine continued, we're recovering the full amount plus penalties. Michael looked like he was going to be sick. Third, Catherine said, and she looked right at me, we're transferring ownership of this trust to Sarah immediately. Complete control. No restrictions. And we're adding a clause that prevents you from accessing any remaining funds. I felt my hands shake. Your parents will receive notification of legal proceedings. I suggest you obtain your own counsel. Rebecca stood up. Sarah, you don't want to do this. This will destroy this family. I looked at her, really looked at her, and I realized she didn't understand. The family was already destroyed. We were just finally looking at the wreckage. You destroyed it, I said quietly. When you decided I was worth less than Jessica, when you decided my future could pay for your present, you did this. I'm just finally not covering it up. Catherine slid papers toward me. My signature was all that was needed, all that would matter. My hand was steady. I signed every page. The pen moved across each one like it was closing a door that had been open my whole life, a door I'd been standing in while they shut me out. When I finished, Catherine stamped each document. The sound echoed. It's done, she said. Completely legally binding, no reversal, no negotiation. Rebecca's face crumpled. Michael put his head in his hands, and I felt something shift inside me that I'd never felt before. Freedom. Not freedom from responsibility, but freedom from their lies. Freedom from pretending it was okay. Freedom from making myself smaller so they could feel bigger. I walked out of that office, and the sunlight felt different. Everything felt different. The weeks after were strange, quiet, not because I was sad, but because I was finally quiet in a way that was mine. I hired a financial advisor. I bought a small house. I didn't invite anyone to the closing. I sat alone in MY house with MY key, with MY future, and I let myself cry. Not because I was heartbroken, but because I was finally whole. Rebecca tried calling. I didn't answer. Michael sent an email about family unity. I deleted it. Jessica reached out through a mutual friend. I responded with one sentence. I wish you the best. That's all I could offer. That's all I would offer. Grandpa Thomas came to my house one weekend. He walked through every room like he was memorizing it. He touched the bookshelf. He looked at the view from my bedroom window. "You did the right thing," he said. "I know it doesn't feel simple right now. I know it hurts. But you did the right thing." "They're my parents," I said. "That's supposed to mean something." "It does," he said. "It means they had a responsibility to protect you. And when they failed, when they actively hurt you, you had the right to protect yourself." I'm 27 now. I've built a life that's mine. I work in architecture. I volunteer mentoring teenagers from difficult homes. I help other people understand that choosing yourself isn't selfish. It's survival. My parents lost access to a fortune, but that's not really what this story is about. This story is about understanding that sometimes the people who hurt us aren't evil. They're just selfish. And there's a difference. But that difference doesn't matter when you're the one who suffers. I don't hate them. Hate keeps you trapped, but I'm not in their life anymore, and I'm not sorry about that. If you've ever chosen yourself over someone else's lies, you're not dramatic. You're not cruel. You're brave. If this story stayed with you, if it made you think about the lines you need to draw, like this video, share it with someone who's been living in someone else's story. And subscribe to Iron Revenge because everyone deserves to hear that their own life, matters more than keeping the peace. Your truth matters. And sometimes, the best revenge is simply claiming it.